Welcome to Outtake, the show that gives outlandish takes on the film and TV world whilst championing independent films. I'm Maz,
And I'm Junior.
and we'd like to take this moment to have the pleasure of introducing Bernhard Wagner. Wagner?
Wenger, yeah.
Wenger, sorry.
No.
Pronunciation's never my best suit, but yeah, thank you for coming with us. So you are a Austrian writer and director, and you've done a lot of short films, including hold on, let me think, because you've got My Girlfriend.
It's a long title, yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm looking for the ping pong room and my girlfriend.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, I needed to take a little moment and have a beat there. But yeah, like they're mainly a lot of comedy based, but slightly obscure visual storytelling films. And today we're going to be talking about Peacock.
Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming. We really enjoyed you coming onto the show and watching the film itself. It has such a deep visual storytelling, and it's something that we consistently see throughout your works. But a lot of it is comedy based, and we're just kind of curious, why is it this particular genre?
Well, I just love to look at the world with humor. I think the world can be very, very hard sometimes. Life can be very hard, and it's just better to look at it with humor. Austrian filmmaking in general is mostly internationally known as dark and tragic and dramatic cinema. And I think I want to look at my characters, topics, whatever, a bit more optimistically and positive.
Which is like really interesting, because when you think about the topic of the film, it is almost very dystopian. We're getting this look on the world about kind of these created personas that we're giving people and how they manifest in our day-to-day lives.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we are not that far away from that. These rent-a-friend agencies in the film, they really exist in real life. They exist in Japan. They have been founded, I think, 20 years ago by now, and they exist because of the big isolation and loneliness in society there.
Yeah.
So people who really don't have anybody in their lives can rent somebody to have a walk together or have a chat. And soon these agencies also were used for people to present themselves better. So it's a bit like social media, but in real life, where you hide lies, where you manipulate people, show off. And that's actually why these agencies would work in our Western society as well. And there are already some. There is one in the US, and there's an international operating one where I'm sure you can also rent people in the United Kingdom and all over Europe, I think.
Cause I remember I saw like a documentary like ages ago. I think it was in Japan, where there was like people renting for like hugs. So you can go after a long day of work, you can just pay someone to give you a hug or just cuddle with them in a room.
Yeah. And I mean, in this sense, when it started about loneliness, I think the ideas of these agencies are not bad themselves, because if somebody's very introverted, it might be a good thing to learn social contact by renting somebody if you're too nervous to try it out in real life with somebody.
Yeah.
But as soon as it's being used for something else to present yourself better, then it's becoming a problem.
Yeah.
And I think that was the thing that really struck about Peacock, because Matthias is very much peacocking everyone, including himself. And that's why I love the title. It was just so on point, and the metaphor behind it. When we are thinking about Matthias and how he transitions from his work self to his home self, how were you able to kind of create this character with Albert?
Well, when I went to Japan to do research, I met a person working at such an agency who told me that because of their odd job, they have that this person has this problem of not feeling real emotions anymore. Because when you switch characters, one day you being this person, next day you being the other one. You close down before the assignments to not get emotionally attached when you play a father, a son, a partner, whatever. And this person has got the problem that this person does not really feel anything anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what I found really tragic, and built this satirical story around it. And it was important for us to, when it came to the character, that it's not that he does not have emotions, it's just that they are hidden beneath 5 layers or something like that.
And we get those small backroom moments where you see a little bit of emotion or a little moment of him actually expressing himself, like the spoilers here, the dog scene, and there's no dialogue. In these moments where we don't have any dialogue, but we have such a strong emotive moment, was this improvised? Was this always planned?
No, it's very close to the script, the whole thing. So what we try to do is Matthias is just looking a lot in the film, like you said, these moments without dialogue. What Albrecht and I try to do in preparation, to find out what these different looks mean. Is he just being lost because he doesn't know what's happening, or is he lost because he doesn't know how to react, or maybe even because he doesn't know how to get out of all of this again? So these small nuances that are transported through looks and his behavior.
And I think when you're kind of observing it, you feel this weird, like disjointed feeling as an audience. Was this something you found in your research process while in Japan, that a lot of like people within the industry were very much disjointed from the world around them?
I wouldn't say that that's a general thing. I wanted to build this, passive main character that has lost touch of himself. But it's of course something we don't see that often in film, to have a passive main character. Albrecht always said, whenever Matthias enters a room, nothing changes, and that's weird for a main character. So yeah, it was more about creating this person that's you know kind of floating through this world. And especially with having a passive main character, it was very important to have an actor you really want to follow over the course of more than 90 minutes. So during the casting process, that was a quality we were really looking for in an actor. And with Albrecht in his previous roles, I always was so stunned while watching him in every role he played. And I always wanted to be really close to him and his characters and want to follow him. And that's something that that was really convincing when we said, okay, let's ask him.
Yeah, I think he did a really good job, especially with the fact with his emotional expressions with certain scenes. I think he really depicted the character that he wanted to give out. Do you want to just give a little backstory in terms of the whole process? Of course, you mentioned briefly in terms of the characters, but in terms of like creating the script and like getting into making this film, was it mostly just the concept in terms of hiring people that you kind of inspired you to get into this project?
That was actually the first step. I think I read about it about rent-a-friend agencies in an article in the New Yorker in 2014, and
Oh
that
wow,
was,
goes quite back then.
yeah,
Yeah.
that I was just starting to study at the Vienna Film Academy at that time. So I knew, okay, that's nothing for a short film, it's something for a feature film.
Yeah.
So I kind of kept it in the drawer. And then 4 years later, when the time was right and production companies approached me and asked if I've got a feature film idea, I immediately went to Japan and did research. And with this meeting this person and then building this story, I always love to work with humor, and the humor I work with is subtle, it's odd, bit bizarre, and very visual, like you said at the
That's
beginning.
literally what Outtakes all about. Because I think with humor is a nice way to show like truths. 'Cause I think when you hit a little bit too hard with like trying to push a message across, maybe people just get a little defensive about it. But I think humor is a nice way to ease people in to understand the themes or concepts you're trying to push across.
Absolutely. I think it's the most interesting way to to talk about important social topics with an audience through humor, because on the one hand you can laugh about something, on the other hand you realize, wait, I'm laughing about myself here. And yeah, that's why I just love the genre of satire. And
Yeah, there's something very Brechtian about your work. And as a theatre kid, I was like, yeah, this is so weird because I'm being forced to see the world I actually live in, but in such an obscure and funny way. And I'm kind of interested, what are your influences when writing this and like kind of creating it?
yeah, I mean, I'd say in general, my influences as a filmmaker were that in my youth I discovered Scandinavian cinema. I really loved the films of Kaurismäki, and he was the first director. I really wanted to see all of his films. Um, and then it all came together with also British black comedy, Blackadder and Monty Python. So all these things I enjoyed in my youth, and then together with, I'd say, the very Austrian sense for tragedy, this handwriting came together.
Um, and like when I'm thinking about the end, was the end always meant to be exactly at that point, or was it somewhere else that you had it envisioned? Did that process change at all?
Okay, how do I answer to that without spoiling anything? Um, I think it was like that. I mean, I always intended that there has to happen something. We see a process in the. It's a passive main character, but still he really tries to find himself and tries a lot of different things, and in the end, there's something going to radically happen.
Yeah, and I think that's the amazing thing about the film is that he's so willing to try different things. Will we be able to get an insider on if you're going to do something else after this?
Yeah. I've got two feature film ideas and one series idea. I can't tell you that much about it yet, but I'm definitely, staying with this handwriting. And what I can say is that also here in Peacock, and in my shorts before, I've always loved to work around the topic of breakups, because I think the big uh, subjects of cinema are love and death, and breakups are an interesting combination of these both topics. So yeah, it will also circle around that.
Well, I'm happy with that answer. Thank you so much for joining us today,
Thank you.
Bernard. I hope you enjoy the rest of Glasgow Film Festival. I've been Maz from Outtake.
And I've been Junior. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you guys next time.
Thank you. Bye.